I just got back from living in a van for 2 months, and this is what I learned. The first thing I learned is how important it is to have a home base. Sure, living out of a van, I did have some sort of a home base. I had a place to go back to every day, but nothing beats the feeling of going back to a home, an apartment, a room, whatever it is, and you don't have to look for a new parking spot to leave every night. Just having your own space is so important, and I started to realize that I was taking my own space so much for granted until I left on the road. And when I say own space, I really mean your own space, not like living with your parents. Obviously, depends on financial situations, depends where you are in your life, but really having a space to call your own that's separate and away from everyone else. And even if you live with somebody else, if that's having an office space, a studio, just something that is your own, you can make it exactly how you want to make it, and that's not moving around all the time. So important to have a good, healthy lifestyle. On that, the second lesson that I learned on the road, which I honestly wasn't really expecting to learn this lesson so hard because I was so excited to get on the road and be alone and be independent and be by myself, but I realized how important it is to have friends and community around you. Having a solid community is so important for your mental health when you're going through shit, to be able to talk to somebody. And sure, I could talk to friends on the phone, but it's not the same as connecting with somebody in real life. And also having events and activities and things that you share with people to be able to go and share life. Like, I had some incredible moments on the road trip, but there were times where I was like, this is so amazing, but I'm alone. Like, I can't share this excitement with anyone. So I've realized more than ever, and I have been a very independent, very solo lone wolf my whole life. I've used my introversion as an excuse not to make friends, but now that I have started to branch out and have a good bunch of friends, and now being on the road on my own for 2 months, I was like, wow, I really miss people and miss friends. So even though friends can be annoying at times, and yes, you do still need to take time for yourself to be alone and recharge. I definitely need that. But I've also realized how important it is to get out and socialize and be connected to a group of people. And then on that, I guess third point, this is kind of like the same point, but I'm going to make it a third point, is just having a good friend and good connection to family members. So you have somebody to lean on, you have somebody to be there for you when you're feeling down, when things aren't going so well, because living on the road is not easy. Everything is not going to be amazing all the time. And if you are completely alone and you have no one to talk to, that is really tough. So, I mean, even if they are just a phone call away, that's better than nothing. But yeah, it's really important to have people close to you that you can connect with on a deeper level. That's not surface level, just talking about the weather all the time. Now, I bet you're wondering what that 0.2 extra is on the title, but you're going to have to wait to the end to find that out. So keep watching. So the fourth lesson I learned is that people are just people. No matter where you go in the world, people are just people. And everyone is conditioned and programmed by the environment that they grow up in, the family that they grow up in. So no one is different. We are all the same here. It's only our ideas and thoughts that make us different and create that othering and duality. And we just don't need that in the world. And I think that's why travel is so important, and experiencing other cultures, immersing yourself in other places, other countries, doing things that you wouldn't normally do, seeing how other people live is so important to being a healthy, functioning, considerate, empathetic human. Because it gives you empathy for how other people live. It gives you empathy for the people that you hate or the people that you dislike, because you can see how they live, how they grew up, and what brought them to that point. A lot of the time, it's not necessarily their fault. Babies aren't born inherently bad. Humans are inherently amazing, loving beings. It's only because of our conditioning that we're taught to hate and to other and exclude. And once you can put yourself in these situations, you realize you can almost feel sorry for people as to why they have so much hate in their hearts. But then you begin to see them as real people, and people are just people. And everyone's going through the same shit in different places. The fifth lesson I learned is how important good food is. living on the road and trying to cook is not an easy task. I did have like kind of a kitchen set up here, but it's nothing extravagant. Also, when you're traveling and you're driving all day, you're seeing new places, you're interacting with new people, it's tiring. So you get back to the van and you're like, I don't want to cook a meal. I'm just gonna make 2-minute noodles or ramen or whatever you want to call it in your country. Cooking on the road is tough, and a lot of the time I ended up just eating out or eating unhealthy foods, and I started to realize how much of a toll that was taking on my body as well as my mental health. And now I realize how important cooking your own food is, making sure you know where the ingredients come from, putting a lot of love and effort and time into cooking, and just consciously eating in general, and not eating just to eat. That's a whole nother video I want to make on conscious eating and healthy, sustainable eating, just eating in general and cooking, because I think that's such an important part that a lot of people, I definitely overlooked it in my life. But food is our fuel, and if we're filling ourselves up with shit fuel, we're not gonna run properly. So we gotta make sure that we're eating good, healthy food. So I'm definitely back on that train, cooking for myself again, and it feels so good. The 6th point is we don't need as much as we think we need to live. Obviously, living in a van, this is all the space I had to live. So I could only fit in the things that were most essential to me, the things that I really needed, or the things that really, really made me happy. And all the other stuff I just had to leave behind. But for example, I have, like, this is not really necessary, but I have my guitar here. I have a soccer ball in the car, because these are things that truly make me happy and I need in my life to feel happy. I said that like 3 times, but you get the point. I think we are just programmed by social media, by TV, by movies to believe that we need all of these extravagant things to be happy. And yes, you could argue that I needed this van to be happy and do the road trip, and that's another material possession, and you are completely correct. But I think just by confining my life into this very condensed space, it made me realize that I really don't need that much. I even brought things that were in the storage under the bed that I didn't even use. And I was like, I didn't need to bring that stuff. Even my camera gear, I didn't use half of it, but I thought I needed it because I was like traveling the country and wanted to take all these amazing shots. And again, it depends on what you're traveling for, the purpose. If you are going to do a documentary and you need all this camera gear, then sure, that makes sense. But when it comes down to the basic essentials of living, we really don't need that much. And our species just spends so much money on crap that doesn't matter and just pollutes our planet. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, just, I guess, be more conscious about spending and what you're buying, and if you really need it, if it is really going to make you happy, or it's just a short-term dopamine boost of getting something brand new, and then in a couple days that's going to dwindle and you're just going to be left in the same position, repeating the same cycle of buying endless shit that we don't need. Okay, so the point 2 on this video is to make sure that you leave a like for the YouTube algorithm. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to act like a YouTuber. But if you did like this video and you found it enjoyable, please leave a like while you're at it. I still have one more point. And that point is kind of a funny one. So the 7th and final point is don't take your toilet for granted. That was one of the hardest things on this trip. I don't have a toilet in this van. So every time I needed to go, I had to find a place. And there were a couple mornings where I cut it really close, especially one, I think it was in Atlanta. I went to 3 different places that normally were fine for me having it. Normally fine to try and find a toilet, but it was early in the morning, 2 of the places were closed, and eventually I made it to a Whole Foods that was like 10 miles away, just dying. And I like run in, and then one of the assistants at the shop asked me to like scan the bathroom code to make sure, or to check that it was cleaned, whatever, because there was another guy in there, she didn't want to go in. And I was like, I did it, but I was just dying, and eventually made it to the bathroom, and it was successful. We didn't have any accidents or mistakes, but those situations made me very grateful to have a bathroom in one place, to have a toilet, to have a shower, to be able to shower every day. That's another one. Oh, there were days, I went for days without showering. I mean, it was winter and I wasn't, well, it's fall, but it's really cold. And I wasn't like hiking or doing strenuous things every day. So it wasn't completely necessary to shower every day. But when you go for 3 or 4 days at a time, it gets a little smelly. And The longest stint I had was 12 days, I think, which was pretty gnarly. Do not recommend. But when you're out on the road, I guess you gotta push through it. So anyway, don't take your bathroom for granted. It's so nice to have a toilet and a shower in one place now, and a kitchen and a home. So yeah, I guess that's the whole point of this, is don't take what you have for granted and realize that you don't need as much as you think you need to live an amazing life. Yeah, that was a good video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you liked it, please leave a like. I'm going to be making weekly YouTube videos from now, so I hope you enjoyed this. Hit the subscribe if you are new to this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.